I was down bad, all this blood, sweat, and tears. You're the drink or you drown in it. Learned a lot from my mom and dad. When life knock you on your ass, you guaranteed to wear your crown different. Only place you find holy waters flowing through the now. Talking to my uncle how he grew up in the South. You gotta have respect and you better watch your mouth.
What's good, y'all? Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Keeping It A Benji. Today we're talking about mental health. You know what's crazy, bro? No, most people walk on this earth just damaged. You feel me? Like, I read a stat stated that there is 7 billion people in this world, and only 2% of the population are really working on their mental health. Which means a lot of people are just walking around this earth fucked up. You feel me? But this stat doesn't really surprise me, at all. You feel me? Because nobody teaches us about mental health. Nobody really, just talks to us about our emotions, how we feel, how we should talk through them. Not our family, not the internet, not ads on the TV, And if it is shown, it's like a foreign language to everybody. They just brush it off like, I don't give a fuck about that. Me personally, I wasn't introduced to, the term mental health until I was in my 20s. I'm still in my 20s, but you see what I'm saying? So my goal with today's episode is just to, inspire whoever listens to this to take that leap into their mental journey. Take that mental work because it helped me, and I want to help you if I can. My battles with mental health, growing up, I saw the world differently. I know I didn't say much. Most of the conversations I had were surface level, so I had no interest in saying much, because I didn't feel like I needed to really put input into a conversation that really wasn't important. I talked to my friends, I talked to, shit like that, but I didn't really say much because I never felt a need to. I was insecure, afraid of what people would think if I did say anything. I was a critical overthinker as well. I remember I used to just stare off in the distance and just be thinking, bro. Just thinking about life, thinking about other shit, but not being present in the moment whatsoever. I live with that inner critic in my head. To me, everybody was more, they was more attractive. They were better. Just what I thought. And I had that thought process into my adulthood. That affected me all the way through, my 20s. That voice still exists, but the volume of that voice is it makes the words basically insignificant. I can barely hear that voice now. My mother being a single parent, she was working a lot, so she couldn't really teach me about certain shit. We didn't ever have no conversations about, why I was feeling this way or why. I never expressed that. I never expressed those feelings. I think most children don't do that. I don't think most children talk to their parents about what they feel. If they acting up, nigga, you get a beating, you get put in a corner, you get grounded, but you're not talked to. So it's well, now that didn't really help anything. We just still going through what we were going through, but now we were punished for it. And I basically grew up in solitude. My mother was working, my sister was doing whatever she was doing, so I was in the crib by myself, either playing the game, or watching shit I wasn't supposed to. You feel me? And I understand speaking about what you've gone through, your pains and shit like that is uncomfortable, but right there is the problem. We all got pains. We all got traumas. Even second lives, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, we got shit that we just don't show to people. We hide ourselves, like, as a form of protection, in a sense. Like, we hide or we distract ourselves from reality. But the reality is that a lot of us are hurting. You know, we hide with drugs, social media, video games. We rather distract ourselves than really talk about anything to each other. Why? Uh, Shit. Probably because we believe that nobody really wants to hear it, that nobody cares, that nobody would even listen. Nobody cared to ask when we were children, so why would they care now, right? But really, really think about this shit though. Like, what's gonna happen if you do express how you are feeling to someone, especially if you care about them? There's only two options that's gonna happen. Either they don't know what to do with the fuck you just said, you know what I mean? So they're gonna be like, "Ah, you'll be alright. Smoke some, nigga, you'll be good. Or you'll get better, shit like that." Or they're the type to really hear you, understand you, and just talk to you in a sense. You know what I mean? Not talk to you to like cure you, but just to know that you're heard and you're loved and you're here. Do you feel me? We as people, I think most people we ask the question like, "How you doing?" And most of the answers are just, "I'm alright, I'm good." You know what I mean? One, asking the question, "How you doing?" People asking that question really don't really care. You know what I mean? It's just like a filling word, a filling question. So the people that's answering it just gonna be like, "I'm good, I'm alright." And most of the time they not good. They not alright. They probably need somebody to talk to. You know what I mean? And personally I wanna be that person. Not implying that I can help everybody. You know what I mean? I can help anybody feel better, but I will be able to listen, to hear them, and like try to understand and make them feel heard and make them feel loved. You know what I mean? I love to do that. I've done it plenty of times, and I continue to do it, and I won't stop doing that. You know what I mean? Having somebody be able to trust me with their words, with their pains, with their hurt, it makes me feel good. And that phrase, that phrase right there, being heard and loved, is something that all humans long for. You feel me? And that's the reason, in my opinion, why a lot of us are lost. We are not heard. Our words are our words are not heard. Our thoughts aren't being appreciated by someone else. I mean, maybe love feels like a foreign language to you. You know what I mean? You believe you don't deserve it, don't know how to love, or feel like love isn't present in your life. But I have a question though. Like, really ask yourself this: are you expressing these feelings anywhere? These thoughts? Are you using your words to belittle yourself? Like, are you talking things through with somebody that you love? Because most of us have at least one person that loves us, someone we can be vulnerable with, someone who sees, hears us, and loves us. And if you don't have anybody, you have yourself. Well, thank God I have a loving family. But even with that luxury, you know what I mean, I still had constant thoughts of self-loathing. You know what I mean? After I lost that great job that I had, you know what I mean, I fell into a depression. You know what I mean? For 3.5 months, I suffered in silence. Life was work, weed, corn, games, sleep. Nigga, I used to work at Domino's. I had like pizza boxes stacked in the corner because I didn't really give a fuck. You know, it was the only way I could eat, only way I could pay the bills, take care of my puppy, and make shit shake. You feel me? Just make shit work. And I stopped going to the gym, so I got skinny fat. You know what I mean? My fam saw it, but I brushed it off saying, "I'm good." It wasn't until I sat down with my mom, you know what I mean, cried and told her everything. Only thing was I able to really, I guess, like, only thing was I able to release that and that insidious thoughts I had in my brain. You feel me? That the way I looked at myself, you know what I mean? That was the only way I could release that tension. Was it hard to have that conversation? Nigga, yes. Hard as a bitch. Like, I did not want to have that conversation, but it's always going to feel better to release that. You know what I mean? Have somebody else hear you, see you, than to keep that shit in. You know? It's always going to be better in the long run. But nobody teaches us how to speak when we feel down bad. And we need to make it okay to state that we're not okay. That's what I truly believe. You know what I mean? I think men and women both have these problems. No one, excuse me, when it comes to talking, when it comes to communicating what they feel, how they feel it, you know what I mean? I don't have the female's perspective, but I believe that, you know, in my eyes, that when it comes to this mental health shit, a lot of men have it harder. You know, put 10 girls in the room. Hypothetical, put 10 girls in the room. If you ask them how many of them like vented or expressed their feelings, you know what I mean, what they going through to their girlfriends, you know what I mean, how many of those girls will raise their hand? 80%, 90%. Now flip that shit. Put 10 men in a room. You know what I mean? How many, and ask the same question, how many of y'all have expressed how you feel to your male friends? Nigga, that's gay. In my Riley voice, dummy, like no nigga is talking to their male friends about how they feel and what's going on with them and blah, blah, blah. Nobody gives a fuck. Or they do. They probably do. You know, they probably will try to help, but no man is taught how to really do that shit. You know what I mean? We as men are told to man up, stop being a bitch, get off your ass and do something. We're not allowed to feel. We're not allowed to express certain things. I'm finna ask you something that I asked this shorty a couple of days ago. You know what I mean? I asked her, have you ever seen a man cry? You know what I mean? Most people probably will say no. You know what I mean? I know she did. You know, from family members to friends to movies to social media, TV. You know, the image of what a man should be is masculine, strictly masculine. You know what I mean? Stoic, non-emotional, strong, like unresponsive in a way, like a damn robot. You know what I mean? On an imaginary scale of what, on whose emotions matter the most, it would be the kids, the woman, the dog, the fish, and then it's the nigga, bro. And this is how this is how it is. This is how the world operates right now. You know what I mean? A man's emotions they're not really important. I saw my grandpa bust his ass for his family. You know what I mean? Always outside doing something. You know what I mean? Always taking care of us. Not really, never showing emotion, never, you know what I mean? Never raising his voice. Just wake up in the morning, cook, do yard work, do housework. Man shit. Right? I never seen him cry. The first time I ever seen him cry was on his deathbed. No, he left this world with a teardrop and a smile on his face. And to this day, that is the craziest shit I've ever seen. I tell you the last time I ever cried, you know what I mean? I push vulnerability on this motherfucker, so I don't really give a fuck. Now I tell you. The last time I teared up was with a shorty. We was laid up. I woke up in the morning, was fooling around. And then we just started talking. In respect to her, I'm not gonna say what she told me, what she disclosed. You know what I mean? But I will say that she told me something that I internally related to which caused me, just to involuntarily tear up. In return, making her tear up. And she had asked me something like, "Oh, why you crying?" And honest to God, I didn't have an answer because it was a thought that was so deep in my mind, a memory that it just unlocked, and I didn't even know it until I had meditated a couple weeks after that, and really realized what was deep down in my psyche. I remember her jokingly saying like, "Yeah, two sad people ain't gonna work out together." You know what I mean? And later on, I had asked her like, "Have you ever seen a man get emotional?" And she told me no. You know what I mean? Now she gone. But it's like simple shit like that. Like, I've only seen two men cry at 23 years old in my life. You know what I mean? So her growing up not seeing it at all, you know what I mean? It creates a certain image. And I truly understand that. But we have to make it okay to say we're not okay. But how do we work on our mental fitness? Like, how do we work on that mental strength? I say first you have to externalize how you feel. You know what I mean? Express it to, yourself or somebody you love, somebody you trust. Maybe write it down. That's what I did. I journaled my thoughts every day for about half a year. You know what I mean? And these were called the morning pages, which you basically just wake up same time every day, write down 3 pages of how you feel or what's going on in your day, and write whatever the hell you want to. It could be a story, it could be a poem, whatever. But you write down and you just look. You look at what you wrote. Not right when you write that shit, but you look at it like a couple months later. Go back and be like, damn, this is how I felt at this time. And you'd be surprised at what you say, how you felt at the time, and how you feel in the present moment. I remember it was I started that like February 2022. Probably like February 2022. And I stopped maybe like beginning of this year. Because I was feeling good. You know what I mean? So I just stopped writing this shit, like everything that I had wanted to do, everything that I wanted to pursue and get better at, I did. You know what I mean? A couple months ago, I didn't have this podcast. Wasn't really feeling my music or feeling myself, my confidence in my music. And I wrote that shit on my pages. And I stopped writing just because it wasn't needed anymore. I'm about to start back up because I just want to be more consistent in that. You know what I mean? Making sure that my thoughts, if those thoughts ever come back, that I can put them on those pages and be clear of them. But me writing those thoughts, you know what I mean? It kept me even. You know what I mean? It kept me balanced. You know what I mean? I didn't walk around with that pain, that hurt, those thoughts of self-doubt in my brain. Like, I didn't walk around with that. It left me feeling light, in a sense. So I would say that's one way to work on your mental health. You know what I mean? Take some introspection, look at yourself. Give yourself a mission as well. You know what I mean? Most of us work, eat, sleep, and that's our daily lives. That mundaneness of life. That's what we do. You know, I ask most people if they have hobbies, if they have passions, and they're like, I don't know. I don't think I really have any. I've asked multiple females that question, like, you have any passions? What you do? You know what I mean? And they don't. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? In a sense, but like, you should have something that you care about deeply, that nobody can take this joy away from you. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you're so down bad, if you're hurting, if you're in pain, if you're, you know what I mean, depressed, that if you do this one activity that you can feel at peace. I believe everybody should have that. I'm not saying start up a podcast, you know what I mean, and express all your bullshit to everybody. I ain't saying that. You feel me? But find something for you. You know what I mean? Find something for you that is also selfless. You know what I mean? Something that you can share with somebody. Or find a group of people to share it with. You know? Maybe paint, music, exercise. You know what I mean? But you get the point. Like, just find something that requires you to apply yourself. You know what I mean? Passionately. And it allows you to connect with others. I will also say become knowledgeable. You know what I mean? Realize your pain, your traumas. Like, create new meanings for those moments. You know what I mean? Read. You know, study yourself. Like, you have to know yourself in order to fulfill this desire to be mentally strong. You have to ask yourself the hard questions. I remember I used to look in the mirror and just be like, bro, why? Why are you doing the things you're doing? Why are you not going to the gym? Why are you talking down to yourself? Who are you in competition with? You feel me? Like, those questions, they revolve, like they were in my head for a long time. And they hurt me. You know what I mean? Until I just truly asked myself. And then I solved those questions. Now, for me, how I solved them was, I mean, me writing them down, me meditating, me talking it through to people. That's what helped me. But you gotta find something that's gonna help you. You know, we get stuck in our thoughts of, like, we are perfect. Now, the world is against us. We can do no wrong. Everything we do is gold. Everything we say is great. We have an ego. Most humans have an ego towards themselves. You know what I mean? And that ego can't be penetrated. You know what I mean? It's been built up for so long that they can't see the wrong in them. They can only see the wrong in everybody else. And you ain't never gonna heal that way. Ever. You know what I mean? Me reading, you know what I mean, and me communicating with a lot of people, like, I realized how I lived, you know what I mean, how my thoughts were. But I also realize now that everybody has those same thoughts. Everybody has those thoughts of self-entitlement, you know what I mean, of being in the right. You know what I mean? I just think about it, like, when most people tell the story of how they broke up, or how whatever, you know what I mean? It's a story about that involves them. They always put themselves as the good guy or the good girl, and everybody else was the problem. But do they ever really be like, I did this, I did that. You know what I mean? I could have did this better. Nah, I don't do that shit. Cause that'll be taking accountability. You know what I mean? We don't really self-reflect with ourselves. Accountability is a foreign word, but in order to have mental strength, you have to hold yourself accountable. You know what I mean? You're doing the same thing. You know what I mean? You're saying the same things that put you in that state of mental depression or whatever, you know what I mean? That is going to stick with you. It ain't going away if you keep on doing the same shit. And that's something that most people don't realize. They stuck in their ways. I mean, I be having conversations with people. Like, I never try to be preachy. I never do that. You know what I mean? But they see me and they see me doing work. You know what I mean? Me working at work, me reading a book. You know what I mean? Me just doing not normal, quote unquote, nigga shit. And they have questions. You know what I mean? Most of the time, those questions revolve around why I do the things I do. And I always be like, because it's for my mental health. You know what I mean? I want to be the best person I can be. And when I delve into those conversations of, you know, what I do, how I do it, and that self-reflection that I put on myself, it's like people don't understand that. It's like, so you telling me I have to go through my pain and my traumas, you know what I mean, realize them, maybe even express them to actually change, to actually feel better. That seems like more work than being depressed. And it is. You know what I mean? This mental health shit, this trying to be a better person, it is not easy work. But nothing that is going to be valuable to your life is going to be ever easy. I'd rather do the hard work that's going to make me be better in the long run. Maybe in the short term, that shit's going to suck. I know it did for me when I first started this shit, when I was meditating in the bathroom in the dark for fucking 10 minutes and be like, why the fuck am I doing this? Or when I was writing down my morning pages and I'm like, yo, all these words, they hurt, and I'm writing them down, but why? When I started having those conversations with my family, people I trust, I'm like, why? In the short term, they hurt, but in the long term, in the present, right now, feel better than I've ever had in my life. 23 years old, not mentally tough. How many other people in my age bracket can stay the same? I mean, and my goal is to help whoever wants that help. I can't force nobody to strive for betterment. You know what I mean? I can't force nobody to try to heal. I've tried to do that. I've tried to change. I've tried to help. I've tried to inspire. Like in my personal relationships. And it always leads to a dispersion, you know? It always leads to that. And I used to have a problem with that. You know what I mean? Seeing people go because I'm trying to help. But now it's like I don't care anymore. Because yes, I always have that love for them. I always have that feel for them. But if they're not willing to take that help, not willing to listen, to really understand, then they weren't meant to be in my life. You feel me? And hearing me say that, say those words, they hurt. Because I love hard and I don't want to lose anybody. You know? friends, girls, family. I don't want to lose that. But if it's a choice between my mental health or somebody else's, then it's gonna be mine. But my goal with this podcast is to help anybody who wants to help, who needs that help, who wants to listen. You know what I mean? There's too many people walking this earth hurt, pain, and they don't know what to do with that. Some of them take their lives. Some of them become drug addicts, loners. You know, some people are good. Some people, they just walk around with it. You know what I mean? They can hide it for a long time, but they never happy. Ever. You know what I mean? You got celebrities, like, the only celebrity I could think of is, like, right now is Robin Williams. You know what I mean? One of a comedy legend. You know what I mean? Genius. All the money in the world. He still took his life. You know what I mean? And when that happened, I was confused as hell. But like shit like that, like, you really think money is gonna solve it? You really think once you have what your quote unquote goal is, money, status, power, that you're gonna be good? You know what I mean? All those luxuries, they're gonna solve what you're going through. It really not. It's not. I know that's how I thought. You know what I mean? Since I was 17, I was like, I can't wait to join the military, get my good job, my dog, my girl, my crib, my picket fence, my kids, and only then will I be good. I had to have all those things. Imagine if I didn't go through this shit, this mental health work, before I had all that. You think I'll be fulfilled with life? I know the answer to that question. I know I wouldn't be. You know what I mean? So this journey was hard for me, and this journey ain't stopping. You know what I mean? Like, it can't stop. In order for you to continue to be in that mental good state, you know what I mean, that good state of mental health, it ain't gonna stop. You're always gonna have to work on it, because life is random. You know what I mean? So you never know what's gonna happen. A death may occur. You might get laid off. You know what I mean? Just certain shit happens that will affect you. And if you stop your mental work because of that, you're gonna be lost again. I'm not saying that you can't have a grace period where you feel what you're feeling and you internalize that and you go through your emotions. I'm not saying that you can't do that, because everybody has that. Everybody has that time they need to, you know what I mean, grieve. But don't stay in that state. But I hope what I shared today has helped somebody. You know what I mean? Help somebody realize certain things about themselves that they didn't know. You know what I mean? And that's been today's episode of Keeping It A Benji on mental health. You know what I mean? I hope everybody hears this. Stay blessed, stay prayed up, stay beautiful, and peace.